Hello everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of Film Snobbery Live. This is episode 99, and I couldn't be more excited to be one away from 100 episodes. 99, this is the great one. I'm excited. Why am I excited? Well, I'm excited because our guest this evening is a very famous, awesome documentarian, Ondi Timoner, and we're happy to have her here in studio because that's what we do since coming out to LA. Everyone's in studio. It's fantastic. No more over the phone stuff. I love being able to actually look at somebody, look them right in the eyes and stare them down and see into their soul. None of that. Mostly they just make me nervous. But no, we've got a fantastic show lined up. We're going to talk about her current Kickstarter campaign for A Total Disruption, which is fantastic. We're also going to, and they're over 50% now, I think. So 59%? Is it? Yes? 55%. Oh, we'll get far further than that. They're going to get 100%, 120, 150, 300%. Why not? But we're going to talk about that. It's going to be really fun. We're also going to chat a little bit about where we're going from here. We've got some appearances coming up at a couple of film festivals later on in the next month or two, as well as a couple parties and stuff we'll be at, so you can come see us in person. It's a beautiful thing. So what better way than to just get into the show? And we're going to go start our little chat with Ondi in a moment. From now, though, if you want to get a little taste of what she's all about, we've got a little clip of some of her work, and when we come back, we'll be talking with the young lady herself. So stick around, and we'll see you in a minute.
Dig it. Wait, bring this on in here, man. Let the kids dig this. You hearing that okay? Yeah. All right, bring that back here.
Think you're gonna please her, so you walk right up and tease her, but you won't.
Now listen to this.
I'll just say what I got to say.
Damn right.
I'm here to destroy this fucked up system. I will do it. That's why I got the job. I said, let it be me. I said, use my hands, I will use our strength. Let's fucking burn it to the ground.
1995. This is the year I met Anton Newcomb and his band, the Brian Jonestown Massacre. Anton was by far the craziest and most talented musician I had ever met. I'm Courtney Taylor from the Dandy Warhols. Anton was my friend and my enemy, the greatest inspiration and ultimately the greatest regret. This is the story of us and our bands over 7 years.
Forever to get down here.
We just gotta get the amp and move in, baby.
Our car broke.
Hi, I've been waiting to meet you. Hey, pleased to meet you.
Hi.
So where you want to go play tonight?
Right
Seriously?
fucking here.
I guess we gotta take the shit back to the practice space anyways.
No, let's go somewhere.
No, we gotta have a revolution, man. We just gotta usher this shit in.
If somebody wants to distribute our records and allow us absolute freedom, then I'm not opposed to people making money. It's a mafia. And until they can write the letter that I'm writing, they are the postman and I'm the letter writer, period, in a discussion.
Hey everyone, it's Ondi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing? So that was the trailer for Dig, and Dig, that was a little bit ago.
Movie.
You know, that was one of
remember it
you,
in
we
my
met
bones.
in your bones. Yeah, where you met Art earlier. That was Art's wife's one of her favorite movies, and we actually got a great comment from another filmmaker who said this is his favorite documentary of all time, and that was one of the ones that won the grand jury prize at Sundance, right?
It did, 2004. So we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary.
So what's the secret of being a filmmaker who actually gets to make more than one film?
Oh gosh, well you got to make. I think you have to make good films. No, you don't actually have to. Make good films.
As a film critic, I'll tell you right now, there are people out there making schlock. Let me tell you.
But then they're really good at just playing the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something.
What's your secret? What do you?
I think I make good films. I mean, I really try really hard to make great films. You know, and I'm a perfectionist, so I'm tough to work with because I'm just really meticulous, and I'm an editor as well. And so, or I was. I mean, I don't edit very much anymore, but we edited Dig, and We Live in Public, and you know, and so I'm very much like by the hair. You know, every frame matters to me.
And
so,
I had first interviewed you. It was very brief. It was kind of an online interview type of thing for We Live in Public. What was the big?
Is that right?
It was.
Awesome.
I remember they did a live stream of it.
You were called FilmSnobbery.
I was.
I love that.
Yes, we were FilmSnobbery.
That's
Yes.
great.
So we had done that.
I'm rediscovering you now, and I love it.
It's like going to a record shop and you're like FilmSnobbery. It's got the big Zeppelin cover.
Rock. It's
totally rock.
Yeah.
So my question is, did you? What did you learn from making Dig and then going to We Live in Public? What was the biggest thing you kind of lesson you learned from going one to the other?
One thing that the two have in common is they're told over a very long period of time. So like Dig is told over 7 years, and it's 2,500 hours of footage.
Wow.
And We Live in Public is over 10 years and 5,000 hours of footage. And the two actually overlap. So I started Dig in 1995, and I started We Live in Public in 1999.
Wow.
So as I was on a pause on We Live in Public for reasons I could get into. I mean, we have 30 minutes, but it's a pretty amazing story.
You take as long as you need. It's okay.
But while I was pausing from that, Dig came out, and I finished Dig. And I finished Dig. It was no coincidence, actually. The week I gave birth to my son, 2 days before I gave birth to my son.
Wow.
I pulled 2 all-nighters to finish a cut of Dig because I didn't want to
That's one way to start the contractions going. Let me tell you.
When I won Sundance, I said from the stage, thank you to Joaquin for the deadline I could not push, because it was like I didn't want to carry this rock saga into motherhood, because it was just a lot of cursing and nasty rock and roll, and I just felt like I was going into this kind of gurgly phase, with this baby. It's pure face. But lo and behold, I totally carried this rock saga into motherhood, because I got the call from Sundance 2 weeks later as I was learning to breastfeed, and they were like, we'd love to have you in competition. And next thing I know, I'm nursing the baby with one hand and making the cut. And they're like, by the way, if you could cut a few minutes out. I mean, we don't want to tell you what to do, but so I was cutting minutes out of the film, finishing the film on a deadline now of Sundance. And when my son was 11 weeks old, he went on his first trip to Utah.
Jeez.
He's now been back to Sundance, I think, 11 times or something, because I'm a fellow there. I've been through the Institute and the film lab for my scripted film Maplethorpe, which I'm doing. But anyway, he was in 17 countries by the time he was 2 because of Dig.
Good Lord.
I mean, he actually looks at posters of Dig and says, my brother. Like thinks he's related to. Do you still think that? He's off camera right now. He's in the studio. Joaquin is in the studio.
We get to have the live studio audience factor here. That's what I like.
Yeah.
It's like whoever wants to show up, just come on in.
He's completely ignoring me though, because he's obsessed with Minecraft. He's wearing a We Live in Public shirt.
Well,
totally perfect. It's totally ironic, because We Live in Public is the warning shot about basically these virtual boxes, the iPad, the iPhone, and
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. Don't touch mine. I'm hiding mine behind my back.
There are days I'll be editing on a computer. I'll be doing messages on this and taking calls with a phone, and it's just like there are times I'm like, this is too much.
I know. I mean, I was worried I was going to be late to here, because I was Skyping with a friend of mine who's a serial entrepreneur in Fiji, who's bringing solar to the South Pacific.
Nice.
About doing a piece for him for our Kickstarter. We're offering these 10K films, short films that are episodes on A Total Disruption, and it'll go on Pando and around the web, but also can be used for the marketing, and they back A Total Disruption. So there's one left, because they're flying off the shelves right now. And
that's good.
Yeah, so Paul's Skyping me from Fiji while I'm talking to Lance Wheeler about something totally else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I said, his last name, I just had to decide between Wheeler and Weiler.
I always thought it was Weiler.
I always say Weiler, and for some reason I just like second guessing yourself on the SAT.
Yeah.
Not a good idea.
That's okay. Always pick
Lance,
C.
my apologies. Anyway, he's in London, and we were
Yep.
talking about his plushy robot Leica. So I was on Skype with him and Skype with Paul.
Oh, wow.
And I was also, texting, and I was just like,
You're just like, where are you?
meanwhile, refreshing my Kickstarter page,
course.
celebrating our $11,000 cash infusion today.
So let's talk a little bit about this Kickstarter thing, a total disruption. For those who are not, familiar yet with what you're doing with that, because even I had to read it twice. I was just like, what? Oh, okay.
You know what we should do to really get people into it?
What's that?
You mean the Kickstarter or the story of a total disruption?
Well,
what is it?
Let's go with what is it, and then I have the trailer for a total
I
disruption.
never answered you about. Yeah, I did. I said why. I gave advice about how to continue and sustain a film career.
Yes.
Just don't quit.
Don't quit. All right, that
Just
works.
keep going. Like choose things that you're passionate about.
Well, because
you'll go to the edge.
And you were good. I mean, you had more than one project going at the same time, and they both turned out to be great.
I end up with these visionaries that they can't help but do what they do. Like basically, almost at the center of all my films. One of my films, Join Us, is about a cult. It's about 4 families that escape a cult.
Wow.
joinusthemovie.com, you guys. It's like my jazz record. It's pretty intense. And I check into the only accredited cult treatment center where you can be deprogrammed.
That's got to be
sort of mind
out there.
control and what we give up to have our lives matter, and visionaries who can't help but do what they do are kind of recurring themes. It was Renoir who said every filmmaker makes the same film again and again. And in a way, a lot. I host a show called BYOD, Bring Your Own Doc, every week. And I find myself thinking this as I'm sitting across from filmmakers doing sort of their filmography and digging into their work. Like, you know what? I see all these similarities, in what we're attracted to or what maybe our destiny is.
You think it's similar to what you do?
I think it's part of my destiny. I mean, because look at a total disruption. It's basically a portal of innovation and entrepreneurship. It's looking at all of the invisible superheroes who are designing the world we live in now. The people that I consider the rock stars of today, the Alexis Ohanians founding Reddit, and Steve Huffman and Tony Hsieh redefining customer engagement, redefining the way that company culture, the way that people who actually work inside a corporation can be treated. Now he's completely destroying downtown Vegas and rebuilding it from the ground up.
Wow.
Social entrepreneurship. Like, I'm following these people who are just geniuses, or just absolutely determined to make an impact. They see a way they can do it with the technology that we have now, and there's an incredible democratizing opportunity. So a total disruption is a collection of visionaries, and it's almost like pulling the veil back on the filmmaking as I find the film.
Okay.
So there's probably going to be about 3 films to come out of a total disruption, 3 feature films.
Wow.
But as I go, because of this wonderful, mighty internet that we are currently inhabiting.
We're on it right now.
Along with many other people.
Yes.
And we thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And attention today.
It's almost like it's like we realize you have many choices in programming across
Nick
the internet.
and I thank you for caring about us.
Picking this one, yes.
So I mean, with this opportunity, I can share the profiles of these innovators as I discover them, take the audience into that world, stoke the ecosystem, hopefully help people become entrepreneurs, because no matter what you do now, you really should be thinking in that way.
Absolutely.
Especially as
the way the
artists,
economy
we really
goes.
need to be-
And, yeah.
As 40% of people are out of jobs, they actually can find ways to make living doing what they love. They just need to know the technological platforms to work with, and they need to know a little bit about how to work it. And artists, we're doing a new series called CEA, Chief Executive Artist, and Amanda Palmer's going to kick off the first season, because she's just, I just nominate her for High Priestess of of this new trust economy, and of artists going direct. She's like redefining the rules of engagement.
She gets it. She
totally
gets it. She knows that it's her fans and her audience that drive her career, not whatever company or label or whatever she's.
And she knows how to empower them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm learning from her. And so I do what I do for 21 years now because I never stop learning. And even when I was at Yale, this fancy, wonderful institution that I love, I had to go, and by my senior year, I only made films instead of writing papers, because I was so determined to to learn via the camera, because it's like a bridge into worlds you can never otherwise enter. And when you hold it up, people talk, people answer questions.
This is true.
You know, you love it, right? You
I do.
thrive on it.
I do,
So-
absolutely.
So I want to share that as I go. So that's what a total disruption is.
Well, we've heard Ondi talk about what a total disruption is. Let's go ahead and show you a little bit of what it is. We have the trailer for it that we're going to play right
cool.
now. So when we come back, we'll have more with Ondi, but stick around and enjoy the trailer for a total disruption.
You can take an investment the size of a Ford Focus and years later have a billion-dollar company. That is happening right now on the internet in real dollars and real jobs, all in the US. And that is really, really powerful.
Technology and the internet have sparked the greatest era of learning and innovation in human history.
I have access to more computing power on my phone than existed on the entire planet just about 5 years ago.
The middleman is gone and opportunity democratized.
You've been given the chance to change the world and improve the world in an interesting way, and it's up to us to do that.
There's a big gap between what exists now and what's possible given all the new information technology. It's going to transform nearly every major industry, and it's going to create a huge amount of wealth and disruption.
We can make our visions real and change the lives of millions of people. Faster and with less money than ever before.
So instead of writing a 40-page business plan over the course of a quarter, why not start a company and see if you can actually get something going? You learn by doing.
Early stage startups, if they're really going to do anything massively disruptive, are solving big problems in big markets, but when you start out, you don't know necessarily which problems in exactly which market, and you have to try and figure that out before you run out of cash and die.
Startups are really hard. It's having an idea that's never been tried before or never been tried in this way. Actually, startups are really fucking hard.
Being able to take something where people really say you're crazy, that means like you're probably onto something. Like then it's at least worth trying for it, because if it works, it's going to be really awesome.
A Total Disruption presents the most intimate, entertaining, and gripping stories from inside the worlds of the top innovators and entrepreneurs driving change today.
Our site went down.
How often does this happen, Justin?
Not that often. Never when the site goes down. It's like your life is compressed into a small ball and is being thrown into Mordor.
We are creating an ever-growing database which shares our mutual vision and insights so we can all learn from each other.
Things that are working, you don't mess with them. And the people who spend their time just thinking about how great they are, they generally go down, they fail.
And get smarter together.
And we're back. How about that? So that's a little visual representation of what a total disruption is about. You guys have a lot of things that you're doing on the back end, though, to make this interactive for the audience as well, and people that are interested in, what it, in engaging with you guys. And what is some of that is you have the database.
Well, we part of what the Kickstarter is funding is more of these episodes, keeping us thriving and alive, but also this database that we're creating, which is going to be an unprecedented archive, basically, of hundreds of hours that I've already collected. I've been shooting this for 2 years now.
Wow.
So there's 50 episodes online right now at atotalDisruption.com that are just, we put out another one every week. We've taken a bit of a pause because the Kickstarter's kicking us big time, but yeah, and then we're going to build it all into a database that you can search for any word.
Wow.
Anything, scaling, business plan, hiring, firing, cookies, whatever you want, and you're going to find, really people who are actually out there doing it, taking those risks, leading the way, like Ben Rattray from Change.org.
Mm-hmm.
Such surprising challenges that he had and discoveries that he made, and why you don't even need to go and make those discoveries, because he's telling you he learned how to focus people around changing something. So you can learn it from him.
And it seems
apply
like
it to your idea.
It seems like a lot of people who are innovators know how to do two things really well: learn and adapt to change.
Adapt to change. That is I not only think that's the key to success. Oh yeah, now we're getting to like how do you stay in this game? Right?
Yeah, see, I've done this before.
You adapt quickly. Yep. And you know what? That's also the key to happiness, in my opinion. Besides appreciating everything and all the little things and not sweating some things and keeping your eye on that. But besides that basic foundation thing, adapting to change and handling it, even thriving on it, and not being scared of it is like the key. I think change is constant.
I think that's why so many entrepreneurs now, I mean, to a degree, myself included, I've only been doing FilmSnobbery for about 5 years now, and, I think that entrepreneurs, as opposed to big corporations, have a much easier time reaching an audience and adapting new technology and all that because they can be agile. A big corporation, well, we got to run it by the board, or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why a lot of these entrepreneurs that I end up filming, they jettison out of their companies because they get bored when they get big and successful. They do.
I understand. Well, it happened with
it's repetitive, and then they're serial entrepreneurs. They're addicted to the rush of the challenges of a startup. And I felt like as a filmmaker, I'm in a perpetual state of startup. It doesn't matter, winning Sundance twice or, you introduced me as very famous. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much of that I receive and how much people think I'm good at what I do. I am constantly trying to find a way to leverage my ideas into reality. And then there's numerous ways and numerous doors to knock on, and I have to still convince everybody, and I still have to figure out what team to put together, and it's never right, and I say the edit's going to take 2 days and it takes 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's like always the same thing.
Yeah,
but what you learn is you learn to get a little bit more efficient every time. You learn to predict that it's going to run over, build that in. You just learn a lot. The outlier theory is true. I don't know if it's 10,000 or 100,000 hours though, but I definitely feel like you put in the time, you become a wizard.
All right. You want to take a couple questions?
Sure.
Let's take a couple questions from the audience. I think it's that time. All right, so let's see. Who we got here? All right, we got one right here from Lucky Hat on Twitter.
Hi, Lucky Hat.
Hello, Lucky Hat. It says, who wins in a street fight? Brian Jonestown Massacre, Dandy Warhols, or Cory Booker and Marshall Curry with a bag of hammers?
Ooh. That's pretty...
That's going back to dig times.
And bringing in some current events.
I know, right?
Brian Jonestown every time.
See, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, so Brian Jonestown...
I wouldn't mess with Anton. I don't care whether you're packing a bomb or not. He's got you covered. He's got you beat.
Let me just double check.
We'll just do some You've seen him. He does these special moves.
And if you guys out there are in the chat room want to ask any questions, feel free to. Did we have anything yet from the chat room? All right, that's okay. We didn't tell them to ask questions, so we got that one question from Twitter. I have more questions though, so I don't care how many questions these guys have. I'll always have plenty more. So my other question is regards to how are you maintaining the passion that you have? I mean, like you said, you started shooting this you've done this for 2 years. You were doing Dig for, you say 7 years, and then We Live in Public was 10.
Mm-hmm.
And
Join Us was a 2.5, and Cool It, my film about climate change, was a year.
How do you maintain...
And then Nature of the Beast was before that. That was the first feature.
The first one, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
5.
How do you maintain that passion ongoing for a project that runs? I mean, filmmakers usually used to you have a concept and an idea, it germinates, you have the script, you put it together, you have about a year total in production, post, the whole that.
I mean, what is really pushing me on this one, I was kind of feeling like We Live in Public took it about as far as I can in the documentary realm. I don't know what else I could do. To me, it's as close to a doc masterpiece as I think I could make, and I'm blessed because I was given a lot of amazing footage. I shot a lot of it, but machines shot a lot of it. It was shot with 110 surveillance cameras, as well as my 5 cameras, and then there were 32 motion-controlled surveillance cameras when he did the We Live in Public experiment with his girlfriend.
Yep.
I mean, for those of you who don't know what it is about, it's really a vision that Josh Harris, this internet pioneer, had, that when broadband came along, we would trade our privacy and eventually our freedom for the recognition we so dearly crave. And so he created a bunker in
Which has happened.
And here we are. And We Live in Public was the warning shot, right? It was really his vision of this. It was the dark side. And A Total Disruption really is the light side, at least the web version of it. When it gets into feature length, I always balance things out, and there's a lot to say about what we are losing from this virtual world that we live in now. But at the same time, I think it's an incredible time of connecting, and we've seen the disruption of governments that needed to be disrupted, the disruption of education, which actually just today, one of the short films I was commissioned to make is a foundation that is being run by former State Senator Dean Flores, It's called 10 Million Minds, and they're going to disrupt the textbook racket.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, the 5 or 4 companies that control the textbooks and are robbing kids of like hundreds of dollars they don't have.
Yep.
And they're offering open source digital textbooks, and I get to make a film about it. I'm
And not only that,
thrilled,
the misinformation in those books. There's a wonderful book. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read called Lies My Teacher Told Me. And it literally...
Teachers are in on this. This is the worst part.
Yeah.
They're like fully getting perks on the side from McGraw-Hill or whoever to just kind of be on the... And meanwhile, the kids are suffering, you know?
Yep.
So we're going to expose some of that, and the film we make is going to sort of tell you about that company for a total disruption, but then we're going to go on and do something more. So we were plotting that this morning, and that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me interested is, you know, I mean, Josh's thing was amazing. I had to hang it up for a while. He actually stole the masters partway through out of my loft in New York. So that put that project on hold.
I can imagine.
He had run out of money, and he was losing his mind, which you actually see in the movie when he has his breakdown.
Yep.
But I didn't even have that footage, and I wasn't really privy to how bad stuff was getting when he was living in public with his girlfriend.
Wow.
I didn't know. So I didn't realize he was shutting everything down. I went to Sundance to raise money for Dig in 2001, came back, and all the masters were gone. So anyway,
wow.
I was forced on hold, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want it, to me, that the technology hadn't caught up to his vision, and so society, it wasn't a film about all of us yet. So it wasn't interesting yet. So I'm really glad that happened, because it was going to be really an art movie, where now it's a very universal movie that really impacts people's lives. And We Live in Public is just packs you a wallop, you know, in the gut. And so, yeah, so I'm excited. I was going to hang up feature docs, and still, you know, kind of still want to.
It's like every filmmaker that says that until that next project comes around, and they're like,
right.
Yeah, and
So
they're
this
like,
started, I'm like, okay, I'll make a
yeah.
series of short films because we don't have as much time anymore, and I can reach more people with
Yep.
these short stories that I make that are really emotional, and nobody's bringing high-level storytelling to technology, and technology is what is impacting our lives more than anything on Earth, and as a cultural anthropologist, that's what I want to pay attention to. So I'm going to do this, Total Disruption. And then I start seeing these storylines play out, like Downtown Project in Vegas, you know, or like We Die in Public. You know, a friend of mine who's a great entrepreneur, a very passionate lover of life, who I made a piece about, Eco Mom, Jody Sherman, may rest in peace, took his own life this year.
Oh.
But when he did, you know, his identity lived on Facebook, and we all gathered on Facebook to communicate about it and to talk to him via his virtual identity, and that tripped me out. I was like, okay, something's different here. This is not, like, forget the funeral. You know, it's not about the memorial anymore, although that happened and it was a beautiful thing. It's like a 24/7, you know, people are wishing George Hickenlooper a happy birthday 4 years later, you know, or
Yep.
however many years he died, as it's the only way. And you know what? If Jody Sherman's anywhere, he's probably checking his Facebook, you know? He's a badass. He was a beautiful man. So, you know, I'm thinking about a short follow-up to We Live in Public called We Die in Public. There's just things that come up, and then as a filmmaker, I just can't help myself. You know, I think it's what I'm here to do.
Well, it's kind of one of those things. Which, like, I wrote about it once. It was being a filmmaker is like being gay. You know, where it's like I have to. I was born this way. There's no way that I can be. I'm a creator. You know, some people are straight. Some people are gay. Some people are filmmakers.
You know, I think there's filmmakers that look at the content or the subject, and
Mhm.
that is where they derive their inspiration from. And then there's filmmakers that look around them at everyone else and what they're doing, and that's where they derive their inspiration from. They're obsessed with film, and so they're almost like they should be film critics or film teachers, but they're making films by just kind of copying other people. And if they can make a powerful pastiche out of it and something new, then they're kind of like Anton, because he's taking the best of the most alienated moments in numerous incredible musicians' careers, the sounds from them, whether it's conscious or not, the Brian Wilsons and the what have yous, and putting them into this new sound that is Anton, you know? And I feel like that's how a lot of filmmakers operate. And then there's some of us in this group that just derive the style of the film and the inspiration completely from the subject. So it's like whatever that subject is that it determines the feeling. Like Dig looks completely different than We Live in Public.
Absolutely.
It's completely different. Join Us.
Dig looks raw. It looks like
God,
the
you know.
yeah.
And Join Us, way too big a song for Join Us. It needed like Iron and Wine, you know, and Sufjan Stevens. You know, whereas We Live in Public has 9 Inch Nails and Jane's Addiction, and bless them because they all waived their fees. They all participated. Sigur Rós, they all, you know, it's $1 million soundtrack for $99,000 because it's art. And it's in the Museum of Modern Art.
And they understand. It's one thing when they're just like, oh, Transformers 4, yeah, we'll give you a song and we're gonna make a bundle. It's like
this
it's
thing, no,
another
they're not
thing.
going to make another thing. They just love it.
But you make them as passionate about it as you are, and that's as a filmmaker. How much do you think about commercial viability of a project before you get into it, or is it driven primarily by
heart.
It's
It's
heart.
It's mostly the heart. I mean, I really don't think about it that way because my projects take such a long period of time in general. Because I do believe that time provides the greatest narrative if you're making a documentary, because if you shoot life as it's unfolding, which was the thing I did with Dig. I mean, up until then, films were really a lot of retrospectives, and except for Verite in the 60s, which we had kind of lost sight of. So in the mid-90s, there really wasn't anything except Hoop Dreams and then Dig, that looked like at the unfolding story. It's now quite common, thank God, because suspense is really important, and not knowing what's going to happen is really important.
The only thing I hate about Verite is that when people use it as it's the gimmick. It's the gimmick.
It's that darn
Yeah.
That pretentious film snobbery shit, don't you think?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Well, what was your question though? Because I was
my question.
I was trying to answer your.
We were talking about passion. Does what you do come from? Do you think about the cash at the end of the rainbow, or you think about? You said it comes from the heart.
I'm ripped off. I mean, Dig is a terrible thing. Like I need to audit. It's bad. It's bad. We have not seen a cent from Dig, and I probably could be financing a Total Disruption off Dig because it's such a hit film. So, when I'm interviewed about piracy, for example, and I just did a piece about Bram Cohen, who is not a pirate, but a genius, and created BitTorrent. And I did a piece about BitTorrent on a Total Disruption, which you should absolutely see. It's one of my favorite pieces that we've done for a Total Disruption. But when I think about piracy, and I'm interviewed about it, I'm not as concerned about the pirates as I am about the people in the white, crisp shirts or the groovy sunglasses who shake my hand and tell me they're going to take care of my baby, and thanks so much for entrusting them with it, and then run off with it and have dinner for the rest of their lives on my film and never even get it on Netflix. You know what I mean? Like, not even minding the shop. Or they'll leave it on Hulu, for way too long, and then they won't move it, or nobody's paying attention.
No, they're paying.
They're off jet skiing, whatever, and like, I spent 7 years, spent every cent I had. I paid for it, I mean, me and my little brother David, who now edits Dancing with the Stars, great guy, amazing guy. We founded Interloper Films together. We went to school together and picked up cameras together and edited together at this public access station to start out.
It's your little brother or big brother?
Well, he's taller than I am and has less hair. But he's my younger brother. And his birthday, happy birthday, David, is April 21st.
Oh, happy birthday.
And Mom, happy birthday, Mom, is tomorrow, 75.
Happy birthday. Jeez.
I know. And Hitler's in the middle on Saturday.
And Hitler's in the middle.
I always know April 20th, which also is the day I escaped that volcano in Iceland. I got out of Europe on the first plane out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. That's another whole story that was amazing. That was like my number one gut instinct story. You'd think it would be film related.
You would think so.
It was a train I hopped out of Copenhagen to Munich on Hitler's birthday because I just had this sense that Lufthansa was going to fly out first. I really did. I was like, they're in with the government. They're running these test flights. I had a ticket, and if I had been bounced or if the flight was canceled, it would be another week.
Yeah.
I gave up my hotel room, which there was a line out the lobby in Copenhagen.
Wow.
I was shooting Cool It. Gave it up, jumped on a train, standing room only, and went through the night. Showed up at the airport, and it was like, I'm ready to take my plane. Like, I know it's going to work. And then it was all just canceled on the screens. And I walked up to, I think it was Lufthansa, and I said, flight to LA, and she, really dejected already, and she's like, passport, please. She said, we just got word you're going to be the first flight out. I landed 20 minutes early.
Wow.
Yeah. I was thinking I was going to be homeless. And the production company had already told me that I was like shit out of luck. I'd be sleeping like...
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're like, we can't support a $700 a night hotel room. Like, so... Anyway.
How is...
But passion, yes, sorry.
Well, no, that's what all of that it kind of goes to. It's all passion.
That was to see my son. I knew I had to be on the East Coast like 2 days later, and I was like, I'm not missing the chance to set up a lemonade stand with Yuki and buy him a lizard. So I have to balance everything out,
How do you balance that, in general? I mean, yeah. How do you, I mean...
I take him with me wherever I can because I really believe in...
Because my mom worked 3 jobs.
He's an incredible... I do too.
Yeah, I get it. That's what I'm saying.
I sleep very little, and I do have a wonderful life. I'm very blessed, so I do have like invitations to wonderful events and things, and I try to go, but I say no to a lot to spend time with my son. and he's my best friend, and he's an amazing guy. So, so I just love, I mean, he's my greatest creation, so I love spending time with him, and he's seen more documentaries than anybody. I mean, he knows, you can see the whole world through documentaries, and so he's seen them because of the show I host.
Yeah.
So I have like 4 films a weekend.
As a matter of fact, I think we have a clip from BYOD. Do you want to show it? Bill, do we have a clip from BYOD? I think we do. Yes, we do. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's show a real quick clip from BYOD. And
I like your hat.
He does.
Your nerd hat. That's good.
We'll be right back with more for Ondi. We have more questions from the audience as well, which is awesome.
Perfect.
And so stick around.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning into our talk show, BYOD, Bring Your Own Doc. Let's watch some documentaries.
Let's watch some documentaries.
Let's decide what we want to watch today. One thing that's really incredible about film is its power to impact people and culture and society and even the law.
It's tough to make a profitable documentary on
But it's irresistible, nonetheless.
I couldn't sleep all night. I just tossed and turned, and I knew this was the end of my career, my life, everything. And at daybreak, he stuck his head in my cabin and said, "Les, I've been thinking it would not look good in the international press for me to go with a raiding party of Indians using my guns to shoot other Indians. We'll call it off."
I said, you should start a self-help group for documentary filmmakers, because when you're in the middle of making them, you feel like you're crazy.
Well, that's what this show is.
This is actually, welcome to the group.
It was the 80s, and hip-hop had skyrocketed from out of the Bronx.
I decided to turn the cameras on the paparazzi.
Look at paparazzi as a despicable job.
I saw this amazing film, you may have heard of it, it won the Oscar, it's called Undefeated.
The emotional candor and just the honesty in front of the camera is just so rare to come by these days. The biggest documentary of the year by a long margin is the Justin Bieber.
Oh, come on.
Never say never.
This was the key question. Could we maintain our creative integrity and reach a mass audience?
You know, when he died, everybody else went into mourning, but I didn't, because I had all this material. And I had, these funniest moments, and I was continually working with him, this sort of intimate dialogue with him. So it really wasn't until after I finished the film that I was sort of struck by the fact that he had died.
Will you be my Valentine?
Oh, Vlad. In front of all these people?
You start out seeing a town sort of in the distance. Exactly, you don't know what you're looking at. And then you start to see things, but you're not quite sure you're seeing things because houses are moving. Right. I wanted to have that quality that was experienced by people witnessing it, which is you don't know what the hell's going on.
Welcome to BYOD Sundance Edition.
I mean, there are over 11,000 films submitted to the festival altogether. This film is so full of hope, and it has so much potential to affect change. That's why it's the perfect documentary, as far as I'm concerned.
What is this about drugs? Why did drugs do this to the black community? And he looked at me sort of pityingly and said, well, the drugs are one thing, but it's the drug war that's been the major problem.
He's a big cuddle bear from West Virginia.
That's right. This is the best place
You like
to be
a little
when you come
bounce?
to Sundance. I do. I like a little bounce. Big Boys Got Bananas needs your help. We need to get this movie out. We need people to see it.
And if you give $1,000 or more,
You could actually be sitting on Ondi's lap.
Ooh.
See that?
Negotiate
My daughter says, "Dad, why don't you really become famous? Make a feature scripted film and you'll be famous."
Oh, is that what it takes?
Yes, as a documentarian, I'm only semi-famous.
it saved your life.
Yeah.
The camera.
So, yeah,
It would have been you being shot.
The soldier shot direct to my face. So
It's
I was
unbelievable.
filming like this, and he shot direct to my face. So the bullet get inside the lens, and another bullet hit the camera. So it saved my life.
Here is what's happening in the real world today in 3 dimensions, in time and space. This is what's happening as a consequence of climate change, and you can see it here.
We're here in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest.
There's that part of me that's shame on you for getting up there and being the center of attention, you big show off. Who's he think he is? I like the camera, man.
It's like the Heisenberg principle of documentary making. By observing something, you change it. I don't think you should be changing the outcome on purpose, but sometimes it happens.
I find after every one of these films, I've learned so much more about myself for the better.
And then once you get into Sundance, to be honest with you, you're going to be able to get a sales agent. So don't worry about that, people. Don't worry about the sales agent. You do your work, and then the
Make a
sales
great
agent,
film.
and then when the sales agents come, you tell them, you say, you come with your fucking knee pads on. You understand me? You got it? Because I did my work.
How was it?
Let's go. Come on. Bye till next time.
Ooh.
And we're back. That was BYOD, and that was fun. I'm excited. I want to watch more of that. Oh, because I need to learn. I need
your
to.
sister show.
It really is. Like I need. Bless you.
Bless you, Juki.
I need to be. Because I need to get better. I need to get lessons on how to be a better host. So I have to watch other hosts. That's how that works.
I don't watch myself, so I
You
should
don't?
probably watch you. Yeah.
Please feel free to watch me. We have questions from the audience.
Oh, awesome.
I know. All right. So John Hoff 3 asks, "What's the best way for a filmmaker to make a crowdfunding campaign stand out?" Because yours so far, you've done really well with it.
We're doing great, and I want to thank actually all of our backers and everybody out there, and the film community has really stood behind me, which is just touching. There's some real ups and downs in a campaign, and the highs are definitely feeling the love from your community and from unexpected people too, across the world. You know, like the Sultan put in $2,000 to go on the road with me and Amanda Palmer.
Wow.
On the first night. And he's apparently, he just looks for really exciting, interesting projects on Kickstarter, and he just gets in and he backs me. He has a blog for people in the United Arab Emirates about Kickstarter, his favorite picks, the Sultan's picks, and stuff. I mean, who knew?
Who knew?
I love this. You know, so I'm getting into bed at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm thinking, all right, I have to get up to get Yuki to school. I've got like 5 hours sleep. This is barely survivable. We're going to do it. You know, night 5 of the same thing. And I see Sultan kicks in for 2,000, you know? And I'm like, I pop out of bed. He's friended me on Facebook. Next thing you know, I'm chatting with the Sultan, you know? And now I can't wait to meet the Sultan. He's got this cute little picture of him and the kitty cat. That'd be great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's
to answer
so
the question-
random. So what about the lows, though? What's the lows?
Well, to answer the question about how it stands, lows are the days, the weekend. When people are just away from keyboard, to quote my friend Simon Close, who made the wonderful movie Pirate Bay,
Yes.
away from keyboard. AFK. And bless them for being AFK. It's just that during the next few weeks, I want you at your keyboards. At least for a minute. Just go to Kickstarter. Because really what we're doing, I believe in so much. I think what will make you stand out on Kickstarter is your passion. You know, I mean, what we're trying to do is something that is revolutionary. And it's something that is forward thinking. You asked me, why am I still interested? And I said, I'm not that interested in making docs right now. I'm writing a film currently about the life of my parents, who are just extraordinary characters. Their story's amazing. I have written the film about Robert Mapplethorpe that I'm set to direct and excited to direct. That we're putting that together. And I also, Karen Black, you may know Karen.
I know Karen Black.
Okay.
The actress, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic actress. I am going to direct a script that she wrote that will blow your mind.
Oh, that's great.
That will blow your mind. It's riveting. And I'm doing a polish on it for her. And she's given me the rights, actually, in perpetuity, to make this film happen, and I will. It's set in the 30s, actually, in Andalusia, Alabama. And it hangs on your skin. It's so good. Waldo Salt. Do you know Waldo Salt?
I don't.
Serpico. He wrote.
Oh,
Serpico.
yes.
He wrote Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah.
Okay. So the late and great Waldo Salt brought Karen and this script to the Sundance Institute when it first started. Yeah.
Wow.
It was one of the first, and so they developed it out, and for some reason it was never made. And she's always known as this actress, and maybe even for her horror movies, or you know, she was in 5 Easy Pieces, which was amazing, and she was an Easy Rider, but she's not known as a writer, and I can't wait for people to see how incredible her work is. So I'm excited about all that. But then I love the fact that this total disruption can really help my fellow artists, my fellow content creators, and the woman down the street who makes pumpkin pies, who doesn't know how to reach people and make a living doing that, and everybody else in between can empower people. So it's not as much the filmmaking, although I always try to hold it to the highest standard, and I think that's what we provide that no one in tech is doing. But it's the lessons that we can all learn and the change that we can make through these films, you know, the impact we can have in showing Amanda Palmer fulfilling her crowdfunding, you know, going to house parties where people trusted each other and put $200 in each till they got to $5,000 to make their world a little more how they wanted it and bring Amanda Palmer to South Africa or whatever, you know, to show that new economy and to show how that works to artists and free them and show them Zephyr and show them Flatter and show them VHX and all these ways they can get their work out there. We're going to make online courses. You know, it's going to be a business. It's going to be an actual sustainable thing.
So you make me excited and almost make me wish I had money, because this is something I would give to easily.
You're helping me by having me on.
I'm happy to do it.
You asked me anyway.
I'm always.
And then I was like, by the way, I'm going to do a Kickstarter. Can we wait a few weeks?
I was like, yeah, absolutely, because whatever helps you, absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem. But it's in that, you know, that's great
that's
though.
how we have to think about things now as filmmakers. I think we have to think about it as doc filmmakers. You know?
No, and even I think even with filmmakers in general, I think just, you know, I was mentioned earlier, kind of off camera, we were talking about Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk has this thing called the thank you economy, and that's, I think, what it is.
Flatter.
It's Flatter. Exactly.
The Flatter button. You know, if you like the work, hit the button. The artist will get some money.
Exactly.
That's like what Radiohead blazed the trail doing.
I mean,
you
even
know, here's our record, and if you like it. And speaking of which, Anton actually pioneered a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, but I wasn't a fan of either band when I made that movie, just for the record. I became fan.
Did you become a fan
I was shooting 10 bands. And Anton, when I met him, said, I'm going to take over your documentary. And I thought, I'm not going to argue with this guy because he just punched his guitar player out. It was the day after the Viper Room.
Right.
You know? And so I just kind of like, okay, sure. You know, I thought, what? Yeah, right. And then 6 months later, because of that, he said, go meet the Dandy Warhols. You know, and then I went and met Courtney. He's like, I sneeze and hits come out. And I thought, oh my God. And he was just coming out with his record on Capitol. And my question, which is another piece of advice I have for filmmakers, have a question you want answered. And have it be such a good question, one that you think the world needs to think about too. For me, it was the collision of art and commerce and what will happen. Will I be able to maintain my integrity and reach a mass audience? Which I think, you know, at the core, that is fraught with a lot of drama and conflict and, you know, looking at these bands. So it worked for Dig. It's like,
it was a good especially as you get bigger.
But you
know?
Answer that question long before you finish the film. Because as a filmmaker, you're shooting it and you've got the answer, and then you have to make it digestible and super entertaining for all the audiences, right? For the audience.
Yep.
And that takes incredible tenacity and patience. And that's really 70 to 80% of it is just staying on the horse.
Do you ever go through the question in your own head of who am I making this for? Me? Being the passionate person that, you know, obviously you're a passionate person about what you're doing, or are you making it for an audience? Like, do you ever lose sight of that even?
I never make a film until I feel like it's relevant to everyone that should watch it. And I think that it has layers in it so you can watch it more than once. And I never release it until you are, you know, I believe the go to the fridge test, you know, that it's so smooth and so good that you will not want to stop and go to the fridge. Like, that was like my test. You know, like, you want that snack, but you just can't have it because you have to see what's going to happen next.
Well, now you know with online.
What?
With that trick,
Wait, come over here because nobody can see you, and then they don't know there's some weird person talking. Just sit right here for a second, because otherwise they can't hear you.
That didn't work for me.
What trick? I failed?
Yeah.
You're going to play Minecraft while you're on the show?
Well, on camera?
I don't care.
You're live on the internet.
I don't care.
Okay. The trick didn't work for him.
That's all right.
No.
So...
He's building. He's busy building.
I can see.
Dimensions.
I've never played this game before either.
What's your favorite of my movies? Which one do you like the best?
We Live in Public.
We Live in Public? I'd have to say the same thing.
I'd say it's not appropriate for a 9-year-old.
No, no.
However, do you ever worry? Work the concession stand when it came out theatrically.
Do you ever worry about that?
Yeah.
You know, well, in terms of, you know, whether or not, you know, he's going to grow up and he's going to have to
skedaddle because you're not being an entertaining guest on Minecraft.
But you're making movies, and he's got to, he's going to grow up, and that those movies are, your legacy to your children. Do you ever can take that into consideration of, I want to make something that even 30
I feel
years.
like We Live in Public is one of, it's so funny too, because I'm that person that, can't get a grant generally because, my films are just not about necessarily children dying in the streets or anything like that. That's obvious social issue stuff. I think it's a massively important social issue, And so as much as it does ride a certain edge, I feel like it's really important for people to be conscious right now of how they're using technology. And I'm happy to shed light with the Total Disruption on all the amazing opportunities, but I think We Live in Public is really important because at least for me, I'm not you, so I don't know how it was for you, but like for me making it, I can't ever pick up the phone during dinner. Not to say that I don't pick up the phone during dinner, we all have to sometimes, but I can't pick it up without being conscious that I'm now breaking the physical world to do and engage in this other thing. I can celebrate that I can connect with this person through time and space, but is that connection as real? There's so many questions involved.
That is true.
And it's a really fascinating time to live in, and I'm so blessed to be here right
Where
now.
you could literally be conversing with someone on the other side of the world in real time.
I was talking to Paul in Fiji about solar.
Exactly.
Before I came, while I was chat Skyping with Lance in England about a grant I want to write for a piece about Sugata Mitra in India. So it was like all about that,
You have the whole world kind of literally in your
while
hand
I had
at that
just
point.
left a message for Krista Wolf, who founded MySpace, who's now doing this awesome gaming thing, and we were supposed to talk, and I was 10 minutes late to talk with him. And it's just like, how great is this life? How exciting is this life? There's almost no time to sleep. That's the problem. I wish that sleep could be like, and if I could make time, whoever figures that out.
How can we increase 24 hours in
I'll
a day?
just be like,
Well, it's not even so much like
cloning. I have to be in Toronto and LA on May 1st, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
I wouldn't want clones of me. We'd run out of food. But
not if you watch my movies.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's why there's some documentaries I don't watch. I'm like, please don't ruin food for me.
Don't give me.
I started watching like Food Inc. and all these.
No, I did not watch that film for like 3 years, and then I had Robbie Kenner on BYOD, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to watch Food Inc. It's time. I'm so sorry I didn't watch that film the day it came out.
Yeah.
The lesson, you have to watch that film. You will.
I saw it in theaters.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Don't you agree?
I agree. I think it's really good. I mean, it's right up there
in the
with.
Dark is only going to just bring on diabetes faster,
And it also just reinforces everything that they said in King Corn, which is like corn is killing everybody.
Corn, yeah.
Who would have thought?
I had no idea.
Corn.
It's actually Monsanto.
Monsanto, yes.
Screw Monsanto. Screw you, Monsanto.
Let's take one last question from the audience, and then we'll wrap up because we have some other cool stuff I know you have cool stuff as well that you have to go do.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I feel like I'm holding you up now.
I'm going to go eat dinner. And then the parade shall continue.
So,
what's the question?
Nick Baisley fan asks a question for Ondi. After making Nature of the Beast, do you have an opinion on whether juries should be instructed on battered women syndrome?
Whoa.
And do you think they would possibly lessen the severity of the verdicts in cases such as Bonnie Jean Forshaw?
Who wrote that?
Nick Baisley fan. I don't know who that is.
Your fan is incredible. First of all, Nick Baisley fan. That's the Twitter handle?
That is, she's in our chat room right now.
I'm super impressed with you now. I'm a huge fan of yours.
All right.
Because whoever that is.
Nick Baisley fan has a fan.
Nick Baisley fan, first of all, for you to know the nature of the beast when it's only distributed educationally is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Right? And then secondly.
You're helping me narrow down who that person is, by the way, I'm sure. Like, I'm going through my head, I'm like, who
Professor,
would know? Yeah.
Professor. I love Bonnie Jean Forshaw, and that movie I did not expect to make. And do we have a minute to?
Oh, we have.
Is?
It's the internet. That's the beauty of the internet. We have all the time in the world.
I know, but
you're the one who doesn't have all the time in the world.
There's so many stories to tell. Okay, but anyway, Bonnie Jean Forshaw, she's still in prison. My movie did not get her out, and that was, I will say, straight up one of the goals. I was at Yale in my senior year, and I was making a film about women in prison. As I told you, I made 5 films in my senior year at the public access station called Citizens Television. I had like the guy from the local preacher and the next shuttle edit bay, and I had like the head of the Communist Party on the other side, and then me and my brother in the middle. And so anyway,
It sounds like they walked into a bar joke waiting to happen.
I wanted to make a series about it. I really did. I wanted to make a show about my time in public access. But anyway, bless their hearts, because Yale had no production facilities. And so I was making a film for a class called Transgressive Women in American Society. And I decided to infiltrate women's prisons as a Yale student and get access and find out if women were the Butch Dyke sort of portrayals that I saw on late night AMC, you know, where my roommate would just chain smoke and watch this stuff, and I'd see, you know, women like scraping each other and like trays being flying, and I'm thinking, this can't be how it is, you know. So I went into women's prisons, and they put me in a room, and they said, you know, whoever volunteers to come in and talk to you, they can come talk to you. So they funneled people through, and I spoke with all these women in prison, and you know, they were stealing a pair of Nikes because they just had to have them. You know, it was poverty, or they were driving the getaway car. It was never a violent crime. They all told me about this one woman that had saved their lives, that had, was the angel of the prison, and her name was Bonnie Jean Forshaw. She didn't show up by my last day there. But as the guards were changing on my last day, I said to the meek volunteer woman, who wasn't meek after all, she's pretty gutsy. I said, hey, do you know Bonnie Jean Forshaw? She said, oh, I love Bonnie. I said, could you take me to her? So we went across the prison yard, and we went to the cell block, and same thing. Corrections officer opens the door, and we said, do you know where Bonnie Jean Forshaw is? And she's actually homesick today. And her face sort of softened with the word Bonnie. And I said, do you think we could see her? And she kind of looked over her shoulder and said, you'll have 20 minutes. And like let me into this shoebox-sized cell with this woman with dreadlocks down to here who offered me tea, who was in a nightgown. She hadn't been sick in 9 years in prison.
Wow.
And she'd never been home. She would have been at her job, her prison job, where some major corporation is paying $1 for her to build something, right? Huh. Or answer customer service for United Airlines or Victoria's Secret or whatever, or make your license plate. Whatever she was doing, she was home, and she told me her story, and I was crying by the time she told me. She was the first person in the state of Connecticut to be charged. Well, she was the first person to shoot and kill a pregnant woman, but she was charged with double murder because they were trying to get pro-life books for the death of the baby, even though the woman was, trying to get the man off of Bonnie, who was assaulting Bonnie, and Bonnie had been estranged from her husband, who had been severely abusive, so a friend had given her a gun. And this man was like attacking her, and the man testified in court to pulling the pregnant woman in front of him and using her as a shield.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it was just an accident. And she was severely post-traumatic stress disorder, which is why this awesome fan of yours is asking that. And the answer is yes, juries should absolutely be sensitized to battered women syndrome or post-traumatic stress disorder, because this woman was the head of her union. She had 2 children at home. She was no threat to society, and you can argue, yeah, okay, you shouldn't pull out a gun and shoot it. I get that. But she's been in jail since 1986. And this is a woman who everyone, and just a beautiful spirit on this planet. And it was something where she was a pro-life test case, and she was just railroaded in. So I hear this as a senior at Yale, and I'm about to graduate, and I'm going to finish this movie, Voices from Inside Time was the name of the movie. And I was tripping. I was addicted. I became addicted to documentaries because I was driving my car out of the prison going, I am taking their voices outside of time. Like they're inside time. They're stuck in a
bubble, basically.
In a parallel universe that we finance with our tax dollars, right? Like a lot. So, and I'm taking the voices out and I'm freeing some part of them. And this, I became addicted to. This is like what just tied the knot with me in filmmaking, in doc filmmaking. So I dedicate the last 2.5 minutes. The film's really well structured, and then kabloom, Bonnie's story at the end. Like that was all I was going to do, tie a ribbon on it, go on with my life. And it just wasn't that simple. I realized I couldn't sleep. I realized I had to make a film about her. And so I stayed in Connecticut, graduated, our phones were being tapped, we pulled out the Constitution, a professor stayed, my brother stayed, school came back into session. I was now, just sneaking into the dining halls to eat. And we finished this movie called The Nature of the Beast. And then I came out to LA. That's how I moved here. I came out to work for Spielberg's Survivors of the Shoah Visual History Foundation, and I chased Oprah's executive producer's dog around Griffith Park, and I had like a health walk to try to get Oprah's attention to play Bonnie, and finally got Queen Latifah to play the role.
Oh, wow.
And then she was carjacked and like left town. And in the meanwhile, I was 21 years old and signed at a big agency, which shall remain unnamed, and it's not the one I'm at now. And they said, "Oh, you're a producer now. Get out of the way." And they were going to make it into a movie of the week, which is what I wanted to do, or like a TV movie that would reach millions of housewives to get her out of jail, because nobody was watching documentaries.
Right.
And they were distorting it, changing the story, and that's what inspired Dig. It was like, can I reach a mass audience and maintain my integrity? Here I have this woman's life rights. I have a perfectly good film, The Nature of the Beast, which tells the extremely sensational story that only needs to be rendered.
Right.
And they're just tweaking it and changing it and putting this like thoughtless woman at the helm of it. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so I started looking at bands. All right, 10 bands on the verge of getting signed. What will happen to them? And that was the inspiration for Dig. And then because Nature of the Beast looked back, I thought I'll never do that again. And I made Dig looking forward, having no idea where it was going to go, which I didn't.
That's
how it happened. That's how it happened.
No, I'm not gonna lie. That's like probably one of the most entertaining like history lessons in terms of careers that I've probably had the privilege of listening to in 99 episodes. So,
thank you.
So I want to thank you, and actually we have a little treat for
thank your fan.
I'm gonna thank the fan.
Thank the fan.
I'm also gonna double check, make sure no more questions. I think that was gonna be our last one, but yes. All right, but I want to just say thank you.
We should knock the wall down.
Just knock it down. Knock everything down.
We should. No, it's somebody else's.
I can't be contained. No.
You should not be contained.
I should not be contained.
Not a good film snob like you.
No. So.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being on. And we have a little thing for the folks who actually are going to watch the archive, not this version of the show, but for the archive version.
Good memory.
This is a little tease, so you guys will come back and you'll watch the show again and digest even more. But we have a clip that you did from Amanda Palmer.
Yes.
That you had.
Yes. Well, I met Amanda at South by Southwest, and I was really. I was just going to do an interview with her because I saw her TED Talk, The Art of Asking. I was blown away, and I thought, you know what, this really fits into a total disruption. I think I really need to not just look at the people creating the technology, but at people who are using it in extraordinary ways.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to talk to Amanda about it, and because she had just come off this $1.2 million Kickstarter campaign, or nearly that, and just looking at the way she interacts with her fans, there was something there. So I go and see her in Texas, and it was like love at first sight. And I think to quote her, she said, we fell for each other like houses in the Australian outback, like houses on fire in the Australian outback. And
I can relate to that. Used to live there.
I love Australia.
Me too.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Sydney, by the way, is one of my favorite towns. But at any rate, so this clip, which you will see, it was shot the first day I met Amanda, and now she is part of the Kickstarter. We are going to fund the first season of Chief Executive Artist with this Kickstarter and take everybody on the trip with Amanda, as well as bring in other insight into how to fund and distribute your work directly, how to reach people directly, how to understand who appreciates your work. And so Veronica Mars, which you know is just crowdfunded through the roof.
5.7 mil.
The day that it was hitting, the first day, I was the day I interviewed Amanda. So she plugs it up on her computer, and we'll take it from there. It speaks for itself. And now you'll see why I've chosen her as my first, as my pioneer CEA, Chief Executive Artist.
So you guys will see that in the archive version of this show. But one thing we do actually have for you folks for the live version to take us out of this interview as we reset the camera and everyone runs back and goes away.
And I go and
you go. We all do the we have you also another great person who I've also met, a fantastic guy, Shepard Fairey.
What a guy!
What a dude!
Great.
I met him
man.
on
what
the
an
documentary.
Gem, as I said in the video.
Met him on the documentary Let Fury Have the Hour.
I met him that way too.
Did you really?
Yeah, I met him at the premiere of that, at the opening of that in LA.
I was there.
James L. Reed, the great James L. Reed, who's now producing with me on A Total Disruption, invited me down to there, and I had just come back from Sundance, and I think my mother said, "You're not going out tonight," and I didn't have Zuki that night, and so I would not have gone to a movie randomly if I had my son. Just disclaimer there. But anyway, I just said, something tells me I have to go to this, and I went. And Shepard and I met in the lobby, and he was like, talking to other people. He's like, hang on a second, I have to get her number. He's a huge fan of Dave.
We must have literally have been standing like within 5 feet of each other.
Yeah, did you go to the after party?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then that turned into an after party.
This will never happen again.
Yeah.
It won't happen again.
Yeah.
Next party, we're on.
We're on.
Yeah.
It's happening.
But anyway, Shepard Fairey has graciously, well, what happened was he asked me, do you want to make a trade? Like your films for my prints?
You were like...
And I was like, yeah. So, yeah. But more than anything, I just wanted to visit with him and get to know him better. So I went by the studio.
Yep.
And we started talking about a total disruption, and he started talking about how important he felt it was. And he offered to make a design for it based upon the logo, which he likes, the logo that we have now. So that will be the jumping board for a design. We have yet to show everybody because he hasn't made it yet. But we're doing 200 prints only.
Wow.
Only limited edition. We're both signing them, and we just released them 2 days ago with this video endorsement that he graciously recorded for me about why he believes in a total disruption.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so they're $125 on the website. It's like going to be worth a lot of money.
And for the
Really cool.
website...
I mean, not the website, the Kickstarter.
The Kickstarter.
That website.
That one. But if people do want to learn more about Total Disruption, they can go to totaldisruption.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or they could just go to Kickstarter.
They can go to Kickstarter.
And, it's some
You
kind of
literally,
crazy
all you
Bitly.
got to...
If I recited the Bitly, you'd think I was really cool, right? Yeah. Or really crazy.
Really crazy.
Yeah, I'm not that crazy.
I just tell people, I'm like, just search for either Ondi or Total Disruption on it. It's there. That's how I actually find it, usually, when I go and I want to do a tweet for it or something.
Every time you give me $1 a day?
$1 a day.
Noticed.
Yeah?
No, I'm just kidding.
I wish it was $1 a day. I wish I had $1 a
Everybody
day.
gives money, like they send you, I've never crowdfunded before, but they send you an email.
Yes.
You know?
So
and I just
you're
end up
blowing
forwarding it to the person, if I know them, and I forward it, I'm like, Danke Shane, or hey, we have to have lunch, I mean, it's great. You reconnect with people too. It's incredible.
Well, because
amazing
you
thing.
realize who your audience is too.
Yeah,
and
people
who's
are
paying
really
attention.
actually saying, you know what, I'm going to back this. And I have to say, I was resistant. I was old school to the new school. I'm like old school to the new school now because I was kind of, which is my shirt. Run DMC.
Yeah, Run DMC.
Great guys, by the way. I made a video for
Did
DMC.
you?
2 videos. I made music videos. I say make, but I haven't made a music video in a while.
There's always time. There's time to make
Yeah,
more.
but I was resistant to crowdfunding, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I was like, I give to so many charities, like that quietly I write out a check to the Sierra Club or usually animal stuff, NRDC or environmental things,
Oh, cool.
Humane Society. And I thought, well, that's private and quiet and I don't need to be, patted on the back or listed as a backer or whatever. I don't,
Mm-hmm. And the good thing is with
but
crowdfunding,
I do get my plushies. No, I'm kidding.
well, with
Polar bear
crowdfunding too, you can be anonymous. You can choose to do that, and
can you?
You can.
Okay.
You can choose to be an anonymous donor, which is nice.
Okay, because I do feel like there's a little bit of this, pressure system at play.
Yeah, especially when people start to know who you are and stuff like that too. You don't want, because then everyone starts to approach you for stuff. Believe me, I know it happens.
But now that I'm going through it, I see how important it is, and I think the way our economy is changing, I think it's vital.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a beautiful thing, not just for artists, but for inventors, to be able, and for all of us as a society, to be able to bring to life things together that we should have, and to benefit from them and to feel a part of them. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I really hope, the motto of a total disruption is feeding the innovator in you, and it's like that we can all get smarter, faster together, and it's true. If we can share each other's stories, as a Kickstarter platform or Indiegogo or whatever they do, you browse it and you're like, wow. There are
a lot of creative people out
really
there.
Awesome people out there that are making things, and my whole goal was to inspire people to make things, to create. I mean, I think that's why people aren't happy.
And you're like,
they're not creative.
Nailed it.
Well, yeah, somewhat, but I have a long way to go. We all do.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't necessarily seen the work, and with this thing, I feel like we can really empower people. So it's exciting to do what they love, to take their idea and make it real.
And I want to thank you again for coming on. And I want to say, follow Ondi over on Twitter, twitter.com/Ondi Timoner. And any other plug-y type of things we need to look at?
TotalDisruption.com, InterloperFilms.com. If you want to see all my work.
BYOD.
There's a store there. You can download stuff, although on Kickstarter you can get it half price right now. True enough.
Donate. BYOD.
BYOD, bring your own doc. That's on the lip.tv. You can also access it through Interloper Films.
Nice.
That's every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday?
Yep.
Awesome.
And we're shooting at Hot Docs coming up. I'm the keynote.
Oh, really?
Docs. Yeah.
I want to go to, I've never been to Hot Docs. I want to go.
Come.
I'm going to try.
It's April 29th.
I might be able to make that.
Okay, we're going to have a party.
Party time, excellent. He's saying no, but sorry, Bill, I'm going hot dogs.
Yeah, you should. You should set up a little film snobbery tent right next to me. I'll give you space. That'd be awesome.
That'd be
I'm
awesome.
gonna do some BYOD there.
I have no tent.
Why not? You can have my tent.
All right, I'm in. I'll shoot in the tent.
We're sharing a couch right now.
Works for me. Well, I want to thank you for sharing the couch with me, though. I appreciate it. And we're going to leave you guys out there with that little tidbit from Shepard Fairey and about a total disruption and working with Ondi. And
thank you, Shepard.
Thank you, Shepard. And thank you, everyone who's watching. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll...
Bye.
Bye.
Who wants to eat dinner? Bye, Film Snobbery.
Later. We'll see you in a minute.
See ya. Hey everybody, it's Ondi Timoner, and I am here at Interloper HQ where we're kickstarting a total disruption 24/7. It's 7 days into the campaign. We've got 27 days to go, and we are 40% funded. So we're really, really excited about our progress, but we have a long way to go. And for those of you who have not yet spread this campaign, I really hope you will, and also point out to all of your friends the rewards, which are extremely limited to this campaign and to these next 27 days. Everything from downloads of my films to Q&As to special screenings to parties, concerts, and Shepard Fairey, an American gem and perhaps the greatest graphic artist in the world, is designing a special limited edition run poster for us, which we're announcing today. And it's going to be $125 and probably worth 10 times that in a few years. He's going to sign that, and he's really backing this campaign, and I'm going to let him say in his own words why. Thanks, Shepard.
I'm Shepard Fairey. I'm an artist, activist, street artist. I absolutely believe in the democratization of images, ideas. Facilitating communication is really important to me. So I love the idea of a total disruption. I'm a big fan of Ondi's film Dig, about the Dandy Warhols and the Brian Jonestown Massacre, and I ran into her at South by Southwest while I was working on a mural, and she told me about a total disruption. So the idea of highlighting people who are bringing things they believe in to life through technology and humanizing the technology is something that I think is worth celebrating, worth sharing, and empowering people with. So check out atotaldisruption.com and look at some of the people that are there and seize the things that you have access to. Seize those tools, make things happen, and yeah, support their Kickstarter campaign because it can't happen without some funding. So yeah, make it happen for them so that you can make things happen for other people.
Hey everyone, we're back, and wow, I don't know what happened to the camera, but I'm big and I'm in the thing. So frame me, son of a gun! Yay! All right, I'm better. Our guests are quietly leaving, but bye guys.
Bye.
So we're back, and that was our awesome interview with Ondi Timoner. I'm really excited. Keep a lookout for that Kickstarter campaign for a total disruption because I think it's only going to get stronger as it goes forward. So do that. I also want to talk about a little bit. I want to talk about our sponsors. And I want to talk about where we're going to be, where you can catch FilmSnobbery in the very near future. So we have. First up, our first sponsor is Sony. I want to talk about Sony Vegas Pro 12. I know everyone's like, he's a corporate shill. Well, you know what? Yes, I have to, because this shit ain't cheap. Sony Vegas Pro 12, I've been editing on this since Sony Vegas Pro 8. That's how far back it goes. And I was pirating that software back in the day. And that's actually how I got them. I actually said to them, I called up Sony, I said, I'm tired of pirating your software. Can you please sponsor me so that I can get real software? And they were like, absolutely, we would love to work with you. 5 years later, and several editions later, we're still using Sony Vegas as our primary editing tool. And I couldn't be happier with them. They're fantastic people to work with, and they've been very supportive of our work over the years. So I just want to give a quick plug out to Sony Vegas Pro 12. You can go to SonyCreativeSoftware.com SonyCreativeSoftware.com and for more information, or just search out Sony Creative Software, I think. Something like that. Just get their stuff. They got good stuff. We got links. Click on the links. So we have that. So the next one is that I want to talk about, and we're going to cut to, and then we'll come back, is the good folks here at Hot Pixel. because the good folks here at Hot Pixel are the shit. Let me tell you about them. Hot Pixel has been kind enough to give us not only this room that we're in, which is actually their color timing bay. They're a fantastic post-production facility that does editing, sound mixing, 5.1 stereo, whatever you need. Post sweetening for audio, VFX, and also color timing. And our the crew we have working here is fantastic. You won't be able to find as good a crew for the price, I won't say for the price, but let's just say like you're going to get the Maserati of colorists for your Pinto budget. So that's how it is, and it's awesome. So I want to say thank you again to Hot Pixel Post Production for hosting us here at your offices and allowing us to shoot. And we're going to show you a little bit about what they do with a little advertisement. We come back in a minute. We're going to talk about where you can see us, and you can tell us whether or not you like us or not, or please like me. I'm good, and oh so smart. We'll be right back. Alright, so now it's time to play a little game I like to call Where's Film Snobbery? Well, let me tell you, we are a lot of places in the very near future. We may very well be at Hot Docs, we'll see. But the one place we will be is April 26th through the 28th. We're actually going to be at Raleigh Studios for First Glance Film Festival Hollywood 2013. I'm really excited. It's always been a great festival that I've gone to and covered, mostly because of the programming. The programming is great. You can check them out over at firstglancefilms.com, and you can follow them on Twitter as well, First Glance Film. They've got shorts, they got features, they got stuff, animation, other stuff, and whatnot. It's fun. It's a good thing. So get over, buy your tickets, come to Raleigh Studios, say hello to me, because I'll be on the red carpet doing interviews. That's what I do. It's who I am. I'm not the interviewer this city needs. I'm the interviewer the city is going to get. I don't even know what that means. But yes, so I very much look forward to seeing you guys all there. Again, it's April 26th to the 28th. It's basically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe, something like that. Come down and say hi. That's all I got for First Glance. We also, in the very near future as well, in early, let's see, I think it's June, we'll be at Dances with Films. We'll also, I don't have any graphics for that, Bill, so don't look for them. I'm also hosting, we're getting close to the judging portion for the Geeky Awards as well, and that's another thing. And you can still submit to the Geeky Awards all the way up till April 30th. So, as it says right on the thing, submit, is it over here? This way. Submit, the extended deadline, submit now, April 30th. So, I camera left, camera right, I never figure it out. It's good times. Geeky Awards, you've heard me talk about it before, I'm going to talk about it again. Basically, the Geeky Awards is the award show for all things geeky, whether it's geek crafts, comics, toys, crowdfunding campaigns even. It doesn't matter, you guys have, if you've got a geeky bone in your body, we've got a category for you. So definitely go over to thegeekyawards.com, submit today. You've got till April 30th. What the frack you waiting for? Just do it already. I'm waiting. I want to judge your stuff. That's what I do. I'm a critic. I judge people for a living. but none do I judge as harshly as I judge myself. So, just so you know. That's all we got. The end of the show is going to be, it's kind of I feel kind of weird about it, because next up we have episode 100. And how can we top this? I don't know how, but within the next week I'll figure it out. We may or may not have had a conflict with our guest we had scheduled. We'll figure it out. I don't care if you people know. Either way, the good news is he'll either be here or he won't. Or maybe he'll be here and someone else will be here. Or maybe only one other person will be here. I don't know. But you know what? Here's the thing. Either way, we're going to have a fantastic 100th show. I don't know exactly what we're going to do yet. I know I should, because it's a week away. But that's not how we do things here. It's just off the cuff. So I want to thank everyone for coming on the show tonight. I want to thank Ondi for being on the show. I want to thank Ondi's son for being on the show. I want to thank me for being on the show. Because you know what? Fuck it. I've done this 99 times. There's things happening here. They want me to thank you? My crew? Bill and Amy? Nah. Amy made me carry water today. I was not pleased.
I tipped you.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So here's the thing. So no, I want to thank our audience. I want to thank Nick Baisley fan for asking a question. I want to thank John Hoff for asking a question. I want to thank everyone on Twitter who asked questions. I want to thank everyone who was on the chat room. I want to thank Andy's mom who was watching, supposedly. I want to thank anyone who tweeted us or friended us during this show or is just discovering this show. Welcome to the show. Took you long enough. Hopefully we'll see you guys all for another show. I appreciate it. That said, we go bye-byes, and we'll have this archive up. The show will probably be archived and up with the Amanda Palmer clip too. I'm excited. We'll be in there probably within the next day or two. So stick by your computers and look for it. Just keep refreshing the page. Eventually it'll come up. That's all. See you on episode 100. Have a good night.
Almost $3 million in less than 2 days. Driving me a little crazy to see these guys getting criticized. The Atlantic wrote an article yesterday saying this is bad and wrong, as was Amanda Palmer. It's problematic. In Veronica Mars's case, they're asking you to pay for what will ultimately be a studio movie. The only thing you get in return for your investment is the movie. Well, yes! They want the movie. They want the movie. Let them pay the filmmaker to make the fucking movie that they want. And they're saying, yeah, that's enough. We want the movie. Otherwise, the movie doesn't exist. So this person misses the point completely. And it's like if you were to crowdfund or go directly to the people to fund a total disruption, and people criticized you for saying, well, why should you get the money? And what are these people giving you the money for? It's like, they're giving me the money to make it happen. Because they want it to happen, because I'm doing it. That's enough. It's enough. We're allowed to just fucking help each other. Like, shh, shut up.